Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is Tyler. For all of those who have been new to the channel or have been here for quite some time but have not been aware. So I would like to introduce all of those to my podcast. And yes, all of my podcasts are for free, and you can listen to them for however much or however long that you want to. But the only difference is the content that I put on my podcast is not the content that I'm going to put on YouTube at all. And so for all of those who are listening to this video or new subscribers or new people that has been here for quite some time that have not been aware of it, I would like to invite you to come visit my podcast, and I have enclosed the description link down below in the video, and I hope a lot of you enjoy my podcast. And so let me go on ahead and get into this video. For quite some time, I have been exposing the doctrine of forgiveness that is in the religion of Christianity. And I've been trying to get a lot of you to understand that if you do not understand the game on what is being played towards you by this fraudulent doctrine of forgiveness, an arrogant person, a narcissist, a group of people who love to follow the doctrine of forgiveness, and I'm not going to let these people off the hook neither, even though I have not said a word about them. It's a few of them that are following this BS fraudulent doctrine, but it's not all of them. But I'm just going to say these people who are into esoteric. Now, I want to say this, that any of these group of folks of what I've just mentioned can use this doctrine of forgiveness on you at any moment if you do not understand it, and use the level of trickery that they have been told in that fraudulent doctrine of forgiveness against you. And so, for all of those who know that something is wrong with the doctrine of forgiveness, or those who do not comply with the doctrine of forgiveness, this is why I've been saying to go do an investigation on it, because these people of what I just mentioned, they don't want you to do no investigation on it. And you know the reason why? It's simply because they don't want you to take your critical thinking, because you already know that something is wrong with the doctrine of forgiveness, to the next level and to see what the level of trickery that is in there. Because if you do, their gig will be up, and they can't use the tricks of what they have been using against you for quite some time. And so I'm just going to tell all of you, there is a new trick that a narcissist, an arrogant person, and these people who love to follow the doctrine of forgiveness, they will use this against you, and then will try and to catch you off guard and to make you feel guilty on purpose. They don't even care at all. Now, this tactic or this trick is that they'll say, even though you are holding the transgressor accountable for their wrongdoing, well, you probably have done something wrong to that particular transgressor yourself. And a lot of you are going to ask, what is wrong with that statement? All right, these people will use this trick as that whenever that you call out the transgressor, or whenever that you rebuke the transgressor face to face, and then there is an argument between you and that transgressor, and then all of a sudden the transgressor did not listen to you whenever that you had called him or her out, or you rebuked him or her, trying to get them to recognize you have done wrong. I'm going to hold you accountable, and you're not going to get away with this. But what the transgressor like to do, in a lot of situations like this, the transgressor gets extremely mad, gets extremely upset, and then go so much to the point of, rather than listening, this transgressor will use words, hurtful words towards you, in order for you to say something back to them. And so this is the thing of what the transgressor will do. And so whenever that you find the transgressor saying hurtful words, want to be in denial, don't want to take responsibility for their wrongdoing, and then cause there's an argument that escalated between you and that transgressor, I want to say that you are not in the wrong, and you did not do nothing wrong in that situation. And you know the reason why? It's simply because you was doing what the word says. And that is in Luke 17 chapter, the 3rd verse. Whenever that your brother trespass against you, rebuke him. And only till he repents, then you forgive. Even though the second half of that part ain't being made yet, because the transgressor has too much pride to realize what he or she has done. And then, not only that, I'm going to tell you, even if the person who was on the status of innocence throw back hurtful words, it is that person who was on the status of innocence did not do anything wrong in that situation. And you know the reason why? It's simply because the person who was on the status of innocence was trying to get this person, the transgressor, to realize what he or she has did wrong. So, in this situation, the person who is on the status of innocence did not do nothing. Even if the person who is on the status of innocence do throw hurtful words, it's still not on that person. Because that person is in accordance with what God was saying in the book, in the Bible. But the transgressor is wrong in the situation. And you know the reason why? It's simply because he or she did not even want to listen, and then allowed their pride to get in the way. And I'm going to tell you that there are some times that a transgressor, rather it might be in family, rather it might be a so-called friend, rather it might be an acquaintance. Any type of argument that you have, they will say some things to you that will make you mad and extremely upset. But like I said before, it's the person who was on the status of innocence didn't do anything wrong. And then let me give you another scenario. Even if it's a situation of provoking. Now, the person who was on the status of innocence, minding their own business, ain't even did nothing or anything like that. But you will find the person who is saying provoking words and then saying a whole bunch of stuff, trying to get that person to say something back. And then all of a sudden, there does be an argument. But I'm going to tell you, whose fault that is on. It was on the person who did the transgression. In other words, the one who did the provoking. It's not on the person who was on the status of innocence. And you know the reason why? It's simply because that person didn't do anything wrong in that situation. Even though if the person on the status of innocence do throw hurtful words or whatever, they're still not in the wrong for it. Because that person provoked the situation. So I'm just giving a lot of you some education on what's going on, folks. Now, here's another situation. And I'm going to remind all of you, if you have a person And a lot of times this is in family. If you have a person that all of you as a family come together and talk about a wrongdoing of what happened or a major fight that happened, and then all of the family members is trying to get the understanding of the story, but this one family member keeps on talking over you. This family member keeps on disrespecting you. And you, on the other hand, shut it down. The disrespect, the constant talking over, the aggravation there, and then you sit there and say, I'm not wasting my time talking to you. And then after that, all because that person did not want to listen to your side of the story. And if that person did not want to listen to your side of the story and then come out and say some low down shit like this, I don't care if you hate me or not or whatever, you was out of line for what you did and didn't even know the whole story, that person is on the jurisdiction of wrong. And you know the reason why? It's simply because he or she did not even listen to the whole story. Even if you shut that person down and you was in the right with shutting that person down and you wasn't going to no more explain anything to them at all. And I'm going to tell you, if you have a family member that does some bullshit like that, that's total disrespect and that's plain out not right at all. So it's not on the person who is trying to explain their story. It's on the person who was not doing the listening at all. So when it comes to arguments, people, don't listen to this bull crap on what they're telling you about. Well, you probably done that other person wrong. And I might deal with that one day. On two parties that are in the wrong. When one has not studied or whatever, they can use these tactics towards you so that the transgressor could get away with not taking responsibility for their own wrongdoing. That's just a whole different ball game. A whole different ball game. So people, do not fall for these tactics, cause a narcissist, an arrogant person, and those who will follow the doctrine of forgiveness will use this against you to guilt trip you so that the transgressor could get away with their own wrongdoing. And then the hidden trick is to make you be the bigger person, and so the transgressor will not be. So understand the game, people. So I'm going to go on ahead and cut this video short. All of you have a great and wonderful day and evening.